Hey, how's it going? It's your boy, Challenger Coach Adam Mortiarty here to bring you the 10.5 pick of the patch video, where we go over our top meta picks and up and coming picks, so let's get right into it. First up, we have likely one of the strongest champions on this patch, and it's FIORA. FIORA is one of those champions that everyone hates to play against because if she gets a lead, it can feel like you can't outplay her anymore, and in most cases, you can't. With the increase to tanks and melee champions in general, along with buffs to her itemization this patch, things like Raven's Hydra got a huge buff, and I've even seen some people experiment with getting Bork 3rd or 4th with some decent success, as it gives her an extra kill option from the active, making her an even bigger nightmare to deal with in 1v1s. You also got turret play money increasing on this patch, and in combination with FIORA being able to Q towers or even crit them with her E, she's going to be able to snowball even easier. Yeah, this champion is definitely a huge problem on 10.5. Not to mention, she's just a champion in general that no one likes playing versus when she's strong. It's very similar to Zoe in that sense, where they both seem to mess up their combos, miss abilities, and then they still kill you in flash emotes. So if you main FIORA or want to put in the time into a champion with a high skill ceiling who is great 1v1 and in the split push game, she will be your best bet for this meta. Just try to resist the urge to hit that surrender button before you scale up. Next up for ADC, we have Kassadin's daughter and Void Girl KAISA. KAISA has been doing pretty badly as of late, but Riot has come in to rescue her this patch by giving her both a buff on her AD build with some extra missiles on Q and a buff to her AP build by giving her an extra AP ratio on W and some more CD reduction, which is great for KAISA as it will make her have a more distinct advantage when choosing either build. This means that if the AD carry player can correctly identify which build to use, that they will be rewarded with a lot of extra damage, which is likely enough to bring KAISA back into the meta a little bit, although I do favor the AP build with these buffs. Either way, this makes KAISA extremely versatile, both in terms of drafting and in-game, being able to go her AD route for better dueling purposes thanks to the increased missiles, which are fantastic, while also having the option to go AP if your team needs that kind of damage source, or you want to build a Zanya since it will protect you better than your off-roll brand support. And also now with the extra refund on WCD, you can really poke people down during the mid to late game. KAISA is already an extremely popular champion, but I expect her play rate to increase even further on 10.5, and she will be a pretty good champion to invest time into because, I'm only half joking when I say this, but I don't think Riot will ever let her be bad for extended periods of time. A champion I'm really hoping not to run into in mid lane is GAREN at the moment. Bet you didn't see this pick coming in hot from the mid lane. Clearly, there is some hype around the champion in general though. Due to his over buffs on the previous patch, he climbed up the win rate ladder fast enough to give him the rank 1 slot on the 10.4 low tier list in top lane. In mid lane, although at a lower play rate, he's steadily increasing as people realize he actually performs better in this lane due to the mid meta being all squishy melee champions who GAREN can easily smash and bully, and that's why he's got over a 55% win rate in that lane at the moment. Not to mention, mid lane is also the lane that Rvzstealth or I don't know how to pronounce his name actually, I'm so sorry, one of the only players to reach Challenger on NA as a GAREN one-trick, prefers mid as the lane to play GAREN in, giving this pick a little bit more validation in solo queue. This champion is just crazy annoying for the common mid laners in this meta to deal with because guess what? 9 out of the 10 most popular mid laners are assassins and 7 of them are melee, and guess what GAREN really is gonna smash? Yeah, just like I said before, it's gonna be melee assassins. But Adam, couldn't those assassin players just not trade with GAREN and outroam him? Sure, that might be possible, but you're still gonna lose a massive amount of farm from getting zoned off by him, and let's be real here, you think a Katarina or Fizz player is gonna sit back and not try and trade? That's a good joke. So if you want some wins in the mid lane versus assassin pickers, definitely pick up GAREN. That means that our next champion will be Maokai, but in the lane you probably wouldn't expect it, and it's Maokai support. I've mentioned before, it's a bit of a niche pick, but he keeps getting more popular and it's likely going to become a staple part of the support roster soon. Which kind of makes sense when you think about it, because his kit really doesn't require a lot of items to work well, and he has a surprisingly high presence in the lane thanks to the brush control his sapling spring. Not only that, but it can be also used to safely check brushes, reducing the amount of deaths a support player will get from trying to ward alone, which, kind of happens a lot. The other advantage the Maokai support has is honestly that it's really easy to execute, and it's really good into counter engage comps, which are really common at the moment. Unlike a counter pick to engage champions like Shaco support, which you pretty much have to one trick to get the most out of that champion, Maokai support can be pretty much learned midway through your first game. I don't even think you necessarily have to read all of your abilities. You can't really mess up most of them. You gotta be kind of trying hard. All you need to do is use your W to peel when needed, keep people away from your carries, and bonus points if you actually manage to interrupt a dash. As for result, you're gonna use it as a disengage tool or just to flank, otherwise it's almost never gonna land, but I'm sure you can still win games on Maokai support even without skilling your ultimate. That's just how good the rest of his kit is when it comes to peeling. We got all the flex picks coming in hot this patch, so we got Jax in the jungle. This pick of the patch though is more targeted towards below diamond, where Jax jungle is far more popular and successful. Recently it hasn't been doing as well, but with buffs to a lot of his items, which include Cinderhulk, Bork, or Titanic Hydra, I know some people don't go Cinderhulk, but it's fine, jungle Jax will likely make a comeback anyways. With the increase in tanks, man, I say that a lot, especially from the jungle and game times extending, Jax will have the room to farm up that he needs and can even go a more carry split push oriented route now, thanks to Blade the Rune King, making him an unrivaled side lane split pusher. Now, I am aware that his most common item path is Blood Razor, but Cinderhulk has been performing better on this patch ever since the buffs to it and buffs to other items have come in, so this is why you should probably go Cinderhulk Trinity Force as your core items. It will allow you to pick up a Titanic, a Sterox, a Blade of the Rune King, or a Wits End third, and it gives you a stronger 3-item combination than your normal Blood Razor route. Plus, I think just in general, the Cinderhulk route gives him more versatility in games, as you'll still be able to split push and carry after 2 and 3 items, but you'll actually be tanky enough to leap into a fight early on or to actually engage and not instantly die, especially if you fell behind and weren't able to get your Trinity Force early. We got another champion that's getting some pretty strong benefits from patch 10.5, and that's Renekton. I always hate on this champion for being a win lane, lose game type of champ, but now with the increased turret plate money, his ability to win lane got even better, and at a certain point, if you win lane hard enough, there is no late game for Renekton to suck at. Even during the mid game, thanks to the Titanic Hydra changes, he will be receiving some extra burst damage that he barely needed, as he's grossly overkilling people in a combo anyways. Another interesting itemization buff for Renekton though, and some people might not be aware of this, but popular Renekton 1 tricks actually do like this build in its Blade of the Rune King on 3rd or 4th, where it's going to allow him to split push and actually win 1v1 a lot easier. The reason it's built sometimes is it has really good synergy with his W, and then the active lets him increase his engage range, and this is going to make him useful in the late game and not completely worthless, because sometimes he just can't teamfight. Personally, I really like the late game pickup of Blade of the Rune King on Renekton if your team isn't going to win teamfights, as it truly makes his 1v1 really scary even versus tanks, so I highly recommend giving it a shot if you plan on picking up Renekton, which you should be. A lot of you have likely heard about the Senna 80 carry strat, where you harass only using a support item during the laning phase. It's pretty common in Challenger solo queue for the past month, as well as a staple choice in competitive play, but I'm here to tell you that it's now a pretty common and effective strategy to pull off even in normal solo queue games. Not as complicated as it sounds, all you really need to do is let your support player know ahead of time that this is what you plan on doing, and that they might actually have to use both hands during the laning phase so that they can last it when needed. On your end, you just need to focus on harassing and getting misstacks until your cycle completes, and then you can just go back to farming normally. In terms of itemization, because you get more mana from broken over gold deficient support items, you don't need to go Mura mana first item, so instead you just grab a lethality item, which is most commonly Umbro Glaive, as it's incredibly cheap and comes online way faster than any other ADC's first item, giving you a chance to bully lane. After that, you just keep building lethality items like Edge of Night, Ghost Blade, or Dusk Blade, followed by LW or IE as needed, and in the late game, remember to sell your support item for that extra item slot. This is a pretty easy to execute strategy, and it's really broken. If you get your support to go along with it, they should probably pick a melee support, and then you're pretty much going to get your free win. Another pick that is getting stronger in the mid lane is actually Lux. Now, personally, since I'm in Kassadin a little bit, I'm pretty okay with her becoming more popular in the mid lane, but every other assassin player is getting pretty annoyed at it, especially LeBlanc mates, because if the Lux is good, that matchup is just hell for her. The reason I say this is for 2 reasons. Lux is pretty safe into assassins due to her shield and range, and although her DPS might be low in a tank meta, what she does provide is a massive team-wide shield that will allow her frontline to survive long enough to get multiple rotations of her abilities off, and hopefully eventually accidentally snipe out someone from the enemy backline, or delaying the fight long enough for her Vayne or Jinx to pop off. An added bonus to mid lane Lux is it can be pretty boring and frustrating to lane versus her as an assassin player, and it becomes really common for them to just tilt engage and get hit by a binding and die. It happens way more often than what you would think, trust me. One tip I'll give you to play Lux mid though is pick up a Medjais, okay? I'm not trolling on this one. She's one of the few mid laners who should do it almost every single game because she's extremely safe due to her range, so keeping the stack should be easy, while getting stacks is even easier, as getting assists with shield or KSing halfway across the map is a fantastic way to do it. But Mortiarty, what if I die 2 or 3 times and lose all my stacks? Can I go on YouTube and blame you in the comment section? Well, in that case you could, but you got bigger issues because you've likely lost Baron or Dragon Soul by that point, and no one single item is going to help you win now if you manage to die 3 times in a row. One of the easiest junglers to win on at the moment, we got Warwick. He's just a naturally strong pick at the moment, but his core first 2 items got buffed with Cinderhulk and Titanic Hydra on 10.5, but he's also extremely easy to pick up, which is a fantastic combination. It's very similar to MF, they're both OP and they're both easy. In fact, most commonly when someone asks me what junglers they should pick up when they first learn the jungle, I usually recommend Amumu if you like tanks, Warwick if you like ganking or skirmishing, and then also Master Yi if you like carrying or rage quitting games. Fun fact about Master Yi, he is the champion with the highest % chance to rage quit a game in all of League of Legends, along with, go figure, Riven, Yasuo, and Vayne, while Nami is the least likely champion to leave a game. More about Warwick though, is despite how easy it is to win on him at the moment, he does have deceptively a high skill cap, as using his Q to follow people through dashes or predicting their flash is pretty useful. Also, it takes a lot of experience to do, and actually hitting his max range ultimate also is pretty difficult. It's just that he's so strong in most brackets to play at the moment that you don't often need to really do any of those things to even win a game, but I still recommend someone to actually pick him up if you want to learn jungle in Season 10. If you want to win jungle in Season 10, definitely pick up Warwick. Last up, we've got Sona and Soraka returning to top lane. Just kidding, wanted to give top laners some PTSD. In fact, it's just going to be regular old Sona support. Sona was a god tier support for a couple of patches, then a god tier top laner for a couple of patches, then she got a hard nerf to prevent her from being a top laner, which actually ended up hurting her as a support as well. Riot then decided to give her some love this patch by giving her some early auto attack damage as well as extra base movement speed on her E, which is done to help Sona support rather than a more AP oriented carry Sona, cause people have had enough of that lately. This might not seem too impactful at first, but we all remember the buffs that impact Sona the most in recent history and past history, and they're always movement speed increases, so do not underestimate this one, as it will allow her probably to get back to A tier at the very least. One of the nice things about having Sona make a return to the meta is she can be considered a counter pick to all other enchanters besides Rakan, cause he's a half-blood abomination. The reason I say this is because Sona is likely the best scaling support in the whole game, and definitely the best scaling enchanter. This means that if you go into the teamfight stage with her versus any other enchanter, which they're pretty popular at the moment, so it's very likely the Sona will win. And since enchanters are pretty passive in general, things like Janna or Taric, they can't bully her out of lane, they can't roam to make her get punished, they can't even engage teamfights properly. I've seen a lot of Tarics try and flash E to engage a fight, pretty much misses half the time, and so they're not going to be able to close out games fast enough to stop the ticking time bomb that is level 11 or level 16 Sona. I know level 16 Sona doesn't happen a lot, but it is crazy strong. That's it, folks, so thank you everyone for watching our 10.5 pick of the patch video. Be sure to check out our other content on this channel as well as at Mobalytics.gg. As always, I'm the Napoleon of League of Legends, Adam Mortiarty Isles. May the new and old solo queue gods be with you.